2014. Her projects for the town of Babylon have included 7 local history books, creation of the Town of Babylon History Museum, restoration of the U.S. Life-Saving Station at Oak Beach, installation of over 20 historic markers, and she has contributed to local history topics for local news outlets, newsletters, and podcasts. She received the distinction as an APHNYS Registered Historian in 2018. Karen Osburn has had a 27-year career in museums, which included working for the Rochester Museum and Science Center, and 17 years as an archivist for the Geneva Historical Society, now Historic Geneva. Karen has served as the City of Geneva historian since 2012 and is an APHNYS Registered Historian. As historian, she enjoys giving tours and presentations, writing blogs and articles, and helping researchers. Without further ado, I'm not sure who's going first. Karen? All right, folks, enjoy the conference. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll see you soon. Good luck. I'm going to go watch it on the screen now.
I'm going to come around with the handouts that are up here.
So I don't know if this automatically changes or if I need to change the slide. Yeah, that would be super. Okay.
Because the hotel was kind enough to get batteries for us.
Oh, hey, there we go. Okay.
So it's just your.
That one. Okay, great. Ooh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So those of us who are short, I've had a lot of help today for short people. Okay. Who should become a registered historian? Why you should become a registered historian? Because it designates that you're a professional. You're not just somebody who likes history. You actually research history. You actually make sure that what you put out is accurate, and it demonstrates the importance of lifelong learning. You also feel better about yourself a little bit, you know, something you accomplished, and it documents your achievements in the position. This is important for, you know, if you're going to write a book, if you're for your municipality, for one thing. They like to be reminded periodically. I don't know how seriously each of your municipalities treats being a public historian. I know mine at times tends to forget they even have one unless I remind them. So, you know, it's a good thing from that. And it gives you the opportunity to promote what you do into your appointing official and municipality. So I get to send my report to not only Devin, but I also send it to the mayor and, you know, let him know what I've done every year, because that way, when I ask them to, you know, pay for something, they say, oh yeah, you've done this and that. You're not just freeloading on the city. So, okay, the Board of Trustees approved this program in 2000 to recognize public historians who show significant accomplishment and proven capability. A lot of people who are public historians have done tremendous work. And up until 2000, they were not recognized for their what they had been doing. You know, it depends on your municipality. The first effort that we put forth for registered historians turned out 14 registered historians. And a list is available on the APHNYS website and also up on the table there. So you can get one there. Do you qualify? Yes, if you have been a duly appointed public historian for 3 years. If you are an active paid up member of APHNYS. You have to be a member of APHNYS. You can't, you know, just register as you know, just somebody coming in. You've got to actually be a member. And many historians aren't, for whatever reason. If you have attended some regional or state conferences or can provide a reason for not attending. If you have difficulty getting there, if you can't afford it, if your town does not supply you with money to go to it, if you know, there's any number of good reasons why you can't attend, but you have to provide those. Yeah, and if you can demonstrate your qualifications by documenting education and work experience. One of the things I would say is that if you have not been furthering your education by going to workshops, going to conferences, attending other lectures and things like that, you really need to consider doing that. It actually gives you a lot of neat ideas. I attended virtually last year and got an idea for using QR codes for a tour. And the city of Geneva is now working on doing a small, preliminary walking tour and seeing how it works out. And that's an idea that I didn't necessarily think of until I heard it on, a program that I had gone to. Whoops, what had happened there? Ah, there we are. Yeah, okay. Okay, so you need to obtain a registered historian application packet. You can either download it from the APHNYS website, contact the APHNYS office, or Mary has them up there for 2022. Yeah. Mhm. Right. Be sure to use the form dated for the submission period. Don't use an outdated form. Try to use for sure, not try, use the most current form we have. Okay, review the application packet and see exactly what's asked for. Check out the meaning of the word document. Have any of you done grants? Ever prepared a grant for your organization? And some of them are quite complicated. They want a lot of things. It's sort of the same process as applying for a grant, only much easier. It's just a case of laying out your things in proper order. Check out the meaning of a word document. Be clear and concise in your responses. Try to not embroider, but you don't need to be overly generous with your description. We just want to be able to read it and see what it is you've done. Make copies of everything that you send in. Diplomas, registrations, certificates, and work experience means accomplishments as a public historian in the 4 parts of the historian's job. You have to use the stuff that you accomplished as a public historian, not something that you accomplished as a teacher or something that you accomplished as a historical society member, something like that. You need to submit stuff that has been part of your duties as a public historian. You and your municipality provide demographic information. It helps the reviewers to place your work in context of your community. If you work in a very, very large community, what you supply might be a little different than what someone supplies who works in a very small community. If we know that your community is like 13,000 people as opposed to 130,000 people, it gives us a better context of why you did such a thing, how you did such a thing, just stuff like that. And identify your formal education. Provide appropriate documentation, diploma, certificates, registrations. I actually had to send to my college for my college degree because we had moved just before I decided to apply, and I could not find my college diploma anywhere. Now I have like 2. So, but I know where they are. And your continuing education. List, and if I were you, I would actually keep a running list of those things, because they help you when you do your report at the end of the year too. For Devon, the New York State Historian for your municipality. List all the workshops, seminars, and other continuing education experiences that you've had. If you've had 45, you really don't need to, give us all 45, but you could give us, the top 10 most important by, something like that. You can give us all of them if you want, but, I don't think it's necessary. Do you?
No, and I was just going to say that when we talk about, we use the word education a lot, but that doesn't mean that.
Oh, no.
We're talking about, when we refer to
Yeah.
education, we're talking a lot about this continuing education, going to
Yeah.
additional workshops, and they don't have to be ones that are run through the local library,
Yeah.
council, or something like that.
Mhm.
That's where this page is.
Yeah, and actually I took a lot of courses through the Rochester Regional Library Council. I mean, it was great because they offer, if you sign up for the membership, you can go sometimes for free or for a $10 fee or something like that. And, there's all kinds of good things in there, like how to preserve photos and how to preserve documents and things like that. At least that's what the Rochester one offered. So don't discount things like that. And provide proof by sending a copy of your registration for APHNYS conferences and regional meetings, or a copy of a class registration. If, like, ones that I have attended through the Rochester Regional Library Council have sent me a certificate for the ones that I've attended. If you haven't received something like that, though, if you have a registration, if you have a receipt, if you have something of that nature, you can enclose those too.
Take a photocopy of your folder.
Yeah,
That's how I started.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Okay, and your work experiences as a public historian. This instruction sheet shows you examples of proof and how to number them. If you have any questions, please ask them before you submit the application, because we don't always review the applications the minute they come in. And so when we get together, because we all live in different places quite far apart, so we get together with a Zoom meeting, and then we find out that maybe you didn't understand exactly what we were asking for, or you didn't describe it correctly. I mean, maybe you've given us exactly what we asked for, but the way you described it, it doesn't look that way. So if you have any questions at all, please ask them before you send in your application. And the one thing about numbering things that I thought was really good is what I did with mine is there are like 4 different areas on the materials that you need to send in. And what I did is I just laid out, like 1, 2, 3, 4 on the table. I laid out a number, and then I went through and figured out exactly which of my qualifications met the number, whatever they were requesting for that particular thing. And then I went through and I checked them again, and I numbered them like, 4, 2, or 4, 3, or 2, 1, or 2, 2, according to whatever it was on there, just like I would have done if I was submitting a big grant. So that way you're sure when you put that out and send it, that you've got everything. You're sure when you scan it all, that you've got everything and it's all in order, because that makes it a lot easier for us to review. So, and I think this is yours. Oh, there we go.
So if you look at page 5, this shows the 4 work areas. Okay, this comes right out of the duties and responsibilities of public historians. Research and writing, teaching and public presentations, historical preservation and advocacy, and organization and advocacy. So those are the 4 sections, and we ask that you supply 2 samples for each area. Okay, so for example, if you've done an article for a local newspaper, that's a 1.1. Okay, if you did a website, that's 1.8. Does everybody see this on page 5 of the application? Okay. You may have done all 8 of these. You could add in something else that we forgot. I know that you're doing work out there that probably qualifies among these sections. If you have any question about where it should be put, you can contact any one of us. Our contact information is going to be at the end. I should mention that the chair of our committee, Sandra Bradford, is unable to attend the conference in person this year. She'll be with us virtually, but you have 3 different people that you can contact. Yes. Absolutely. And I would put that, I'd put it under 1.9 other. We should probably add social media as a section. And then what you would do for showing the proof of that is just kind of a printout that's going to show the date of when you did it. You can do 1 or 2. That's fine. Under teaching and public presentations, if you've presented to your region at a regional meeting, to a library, if you've been doing Zoom presentations, anything like that counts. How do you prove that you've done something virtually? Just print out the announcement from the website or something that shows it. Sometimes you have a thank you letter from the organization that hosted you. Oh, speaking on the radio, appearing on somebody's podcast, creating historical exhibits, and that can be at something in one of your municipal buildings. It can be at a library. It can be something that was up for a week, and it can be something that was up for a year. Whatever you've done in your community, I'm telling you, it counts somewhere under here. If you have any question where, just ask us. Managed a marker program. That includes applying for a Pomeroy grant. Worked on the preservation of records. You've found that dusty box of whatever that was in the basement, and you've taken it and now you've organized it and put it into its archival sleeves. You've preserved records. That counts. And perhaps then if you did a write-up about doing that. We all have anniversaries that come up. That falls in section 4. Conducted a commemoration of a historical anniversary. Written a grant application. Organized a fundraiser. That would most likely be with a historical society. Served as a consultant to a historical association. Does anybody have any questions on these sections? Yes. What it means is what you've done with the historical since being an appointed historian. So maybe you've been a member for 10 years, but you've only been appointed for 5. So it has to be a project that you've done since your appointment. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it would be 3 years as of July 1st, 2022. So before July 1st, 2019. Yeah. And there's a checklist at the end. I think, well, we're going to get to it. I don't want to get too far ahead. You are sending us a maximum of 8. So 2 for each section. Even if you've done 4 or 5 in a section, really just send us 2. And in sending them to us, please do write on the front of it that, you're applying for this article under 1.1 or this brochure under 1.6. If you put it right there on the top, it'll help us a lot. Oh, look at that. These are all the sections I was talking about. I was just going off the top of my head, but right there, here's an example of a writing sample of an article. And here they all are. I didn't have to send you to the booklet. Let's see what else we missed. research file on a local topic. I'm sure we have lots of those. Yes.
So I've been in the job for about 2.5 years, and I've probably written 75 to 100 newspaper articles about different things within the village. One article for the magazine newspaper easy.
Yes.
But if you've done 50, you've done 100. In quantity, where does that come into play?
It doesn't. No. But congratulations. That's wonderful. We look forward to seeing your application. Teaching and public presentations. So here's some examples of what people have sent in. You can send a photograph of the exhibit and maybe just a close-up of one section. You know, an advertisement for it, how it was promoted for people to come and visit. Right here on the left, here's a flyer for a presentation to a community group. Teaching and public presentations. This qualifies for going to an elementary school. Maybe you've been invited to speak at a college for a class. If you, as a municipal historian, if you've consulted to a historical society, and that counts, you know, we can't separate ourselves from the historical societies. You know, we're always there. Speaking to the community group with or without a slideshow. It doesn't have to be uber technical. Yes.
Just go back to the second up the top where it says work experience checklist.
Yes.
And I noticed last time I looked at this, I noticed this as well. The word after the first line is all in capital letters, so I assume that's quite important.
Yes.
My question is, I've been town historian for 5 years, 3 years long, okay? With many things on this list, even though I wasn't town historian, I was doing many things prior to becoming a town historian. For example, I've written 2 books, but not in the last 2 years. Most things on this list I have done in the last 3 years. There's quite a few things on here. Yeah, I guess I'll use the term it seems unfair, because you've already done these, you gotta do them again. Just question how hard fact that after. Obviously, it's quite hard.
Well, it's not what you've done in the past 3 years, but you said you've been in the position for 5. So out of the 8 things, the 2 for each section, if you tell me that you've come up with 7, but you know, the last one is how long ago did you write the book? Your last book? Okay. And it relates to the municipality that you currently serve? I think that we would discuss this as a committee, but yeah, put together the rest of your list and contact one of us and we will review it.
I think a real good example would be Siena College in Loudon. 3 years I did a program for that historical field trip. I did it for 3 consecutive years. After I did that for 3 years, they moved on to Forsyth on the road. And that was the field trip for John. So I think the Siena experience is a good experience, but it's definitely more than 5 years old.
Right. Well, work on the list and see you. It sounds like you have a lot of great accomplishments that did predate your appointment. See what the things that you've done in the past 5 years, how they fall into the list, and then talk with us about it. Okay.
And I think it's before you came out, we did have one lady who was listing things from 20 years ago, and she had owned a public historian for 5, something like that. And we, at the time, she was,
Yeah, I'm the newbie to this committee.
the precedent is that it needs to be that you are a public historian. You've been a public historian. But as Mary said, put it on your list. You know, if you can't fulfill everything on your list with what you've already done in the last 5 years, put it on your list, maybe on a separate thing, indicate that you did it. And why you think it's important, and we can discuss it.
Yeah, and when we're back in our offices or something, we can have a phone conversation and
Yeah.
and try and talk about the different ways that these areas can be interpreted. We want people to become registered historians. So whatever we can do to help, we're here. Yeah, you're welcome. Yes.
This is my second in-person conference. Now, when it comes to saying attending conference, maybe I'm going back in application. How critical is it to say, okay, I attended at Oswego in 2021 versus what classes I took while I was here? How critical or is that not critical?
I don't think that every box has to be filled out on that page. Yes.
When people ask questions, would you please repeat the question? The question.
Yes, I will. The question is how important it is to fill in the boxes on page 2 and 3. How important is it that you've attended X number of conferences? I believe that the idea is that it would be great if you could supply that you've attended a couple of history-related conferences, even if it's just one in the past few years, and to show that you've been to at least 2 in-person APHNYS conferences, that's great. It is not a checklist of, oh, you missed one. It's not like that, because there are reasons why people can't attend. And yeah, any one of them that you can only helps. We do want to show that you're supporting the organization also. And if you've only attended regional meetings, that does count. It doesn't have to be a state conference.
And I don't know, part of your question, I believe, was, could you count separately the classes you attended while you were at the conference and further education? I think that those are kind of like lumped into one thing. You only need a couple of furthering education things. So if you went to another conference, suppose you attended an archive conference, that material that you could use in your job as a public historian, that would count. If you attended like a Manny's conference, that would count. So it doesn't necessarily have to be, we would like to see that you came to at least one of these conferences, but it could also be other history conferences that would be helpful.
And I think that attending one of the in-person conferences kind of shows
Yeah.
that you've been thrown into the pool. And and again, here's some examples for Area 3 historical advocacy. Perhaps you've conducted a cultural resource inventory. Here's the preservation of records example. If you've written a National Register nomination, or done a request for eligibility for National Register. Right, prepared or assisted in a National Register. Here's the marker program. Answered questions about the historical significance of places or properties. This includes an email. We get plenty of submissions that are a back and forth that they've done with a researcher, and you're attaching a copy of the question that the person asked, and the attachments of what you sent to them. And again, if you've sent them 20 pages, you really only have to send us the first 2. As long as it's clear what information you've been providing. Organization and advocacy. Here's 4.1, conducting a commemoration of a historical anniversary, and 4.5, lobbying for the promotion of community history. And that can be done in a lot of different ways. My local Hibernians Hall is celebrating 75 years this year. I wrote them a letter for their journal. This does count, because this is now going into their publication. As Karen mentioned, grant applications. And one of the great things is you can show that you did the grant application if you received the grant. The letter, the cover letter for that is great as well. Served on a committee or a study group regarding your community's history. Was that me? Oh, as long as it was you and not me. Thank you. We're always being asked to help. So think about all those things that people are asking you to be a part of because you're such a great resource. I'll bet they qualify you for a lot of things on here. So putting it all together, fill out the application form completely, attaching all those copies. Don't send us the originals because we won't be sending them back to you. Use the application checklist, which is here. Make sure you sign it. The checklist does say, okay, the completed and signed dated 6-page application that we've just gone through, a copy of your appointment. I know that mine is a copy of the resolution that the town board passed. And that's what I hold on to. If you received a letter, you can use that as well. You know, I'm reappointed every year, but you really just need that first one. Copies of the diplomas, the registrations for the completed education, a copy of one annual report. Does anyone have a question about the annual report? Yes. I prove my appointment as town historian with the 2014, a copy of the 2014 resolution that was passed by my town board. It showed that I was appointed. Some people may have been appointed by letter. Perhaps it was just kind of done in the minutes of a municipal board meeting. You're the historian for where?
I'm a county historian and I get appointed every 2 years.
Every 2 years. And when was the first year that you were appointed?
2003.
Okay, so who do you report to?
County Board of Supervisors.
Okay, someone there, if they could write a letter, they could be dated this year, but confirming that you have been appointed since 2003.
My appointment comes at the annual reorganization meeting of the Board of Supervisors every 2 years.
Okay,
So with just the minutes,
yes, that first one would be fine. As long as it's been continual since that time, the first one will be fine, because that's the date that you're going to put in here.
first one would be fine. That's what I'm really asking about.
Yes. Because if you tell me that you've been appointed every 2 years since, we're trusting you. So just give us the first one.
Coincidentally, the first one I was appointed to fill out the balance of part of a year. That's 2 years.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. And maybe you put a note, you know, alongside it that just explains that. That's fine. Because one of the things that we can do is that if anybody, you know, tried to show us an old appointment date, we can very easily Google your name and your municipality. And we tend to find, you know, oh yeah, that person's still a historian. Every time you're quoted in the newspaper, we can find you, which is a good thing. Oh, but did anybody have questions about annual reports? You know that everyone knows that they're supposed to be filling out an annual report and submitting. If you have any questions, just ask. And then of course, all your examples. Now, ideally, we would love it if you scanned all of this in and emailed it to us. We realize that that is not always feasible for everyone. There is a mailing address here. You get to send it to our chair, Sandra. But if you do want it to be scanned, I'll give you my card. Mail it to me and I'll scan it for you. I have a lot of nice resources in my office and I'm happy to share them. Yes.
Can't read the email address.
It's right at the back of the, it's underlined on the back page of the application. sept.wins@live.com. Yeah, you're right. After we've clicked that, the link goes to blue. But yeah, that's Sandra's email. Yes.
All right, so again, relatively new, but I am the Region 8 alternate. Do these packages for anybody within your region, do they route through the region representative, either going up the chain or down the chain?
No, they come directly to us.
So, and I'm just asking, I'm saying anything negative, but a regional rep would not necessarily know if someone in their region is applying or has been approved.
No. No, that might, at last night's board meeting, we were talking about the need to revive regional coordinator meetings. And so that's a great point that we can relay that information. It's also a really nice idea that when the next time you have a regional meeting, after you have filled out your application, for you to say, hey, fellow historians, I've done this. Would you all like to take a look at it? And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer what I learned at the workshop because I went to Oswego, or just pass on the information.
One thing like you're doing right now is, like, say I did the same slideshow or yours, we gave it a response.
Yes. Yes. That's completely doable. So this is us. As I said, Sandra's at home, Karen and myself. Oh, what do you get? You get one of these snazzy certificates. I have mine in a frame there on the table. And the Registered Historians pin. The award of Registered Historian is given at the awards dinner, which will be tomorrow night. Hey, Amy, everybody wave to Amy in the back. Tomorrow night, she becomes our 136th Registered Historian. The honor demonstrates your commitment to preserving your municipality. And it's one of these things that you get to take back home and show to your board of supervisors, to your town board, to your village mayor, and say, hey, I know that you appreciate me, but I want to let you know that my colleagues appreciate me also. They're acknowledging that, I'm doing the work that we're supposed to do. So flaunt it. You will set an example by encouraging your community to preserve its history. You continue to grow through the online learning. You're going to continue to be an active member of APHNYS. You're encouraging the promotion of your local history. This is the kind of thing that should be announced the next time that you speak at your historical society. Hey, by the way, Mary is now a registered historian. And you're teaching the public about the importance that we play. I always say that we come here and it's great. We get to talk with one another about our similar and differing experiences, but we go home and we're largely solo practitioners. Who do we share the struggles with? So to be able to say, hey, I went to the state conference and I learned about becoming a registered historian, and now I have this status, and it's a status that continues forever. It means something. I know that it means a lot to me. So thank you for your interest. Again, here's a reiteration of the contact information, which is difficult for you to read, but it is reprinted in your packet. Questions? Yeah.
All right, so if I submit a package, it gets approved, do I need to do anything in subsequent years to keep that active, or once you're a registered historian, you're always a registered historian?
You're always a registered historian. But we do hope that then you will set an example for the other people in your region. My predecessor was a registered historian, so that kind of told me that I should do that as well. Do things like promote it through your region. Once you become a registered historian next year, I'm putting the pressure on you.
My 3 years, I guess July 2022 would be my first eligible.
Yep. So next year when we're in Kingston, I would like to look forward to awarding you your registered historian certificate. And then yes, as a registered historian, present to your region. We want our regional coordinators to do more in promoting this, because here's a statistic, and you're going to hear this tomorrow night. As of tomorrow, we'll have 136 registered historians on our list. Now, you might have looked over the list there. The asterisk indicates that people who have passed away, and that little arrow shows the people that are no longer historians. Only 2/3 of that list are current historians. Our application rates have slowed down over the past few years. We've only had 2 applications each of the past couple of years. Because I think I got mine in 2018. I think I was only one of 2 people. We had 2 last year. We have 2 this year. So while 136 looks like this great list, only 84 of those people are currently serving as historians. And that number is going to keep dwindling. If we continue at this rate, we're going to get to a point where only half of that list are current historians. So we really do want to start to promote this. Even if you choose not to apply this year, please do share this at your next regional meeting. Share this with anybody who wasn't able to come to the state conference, because I don't believe that this is going live. Oh, it is. Oh, hi. Hi to the future. Anything else?
I was just going to say, don't think that what you have done is not significant enough to apply. Let us decide. Write your stuff down, send us the application. If we have a question, we'll get back to you. It's newspaper articles and things like that. These are all significant ways to promote your municipality's history. So don't feel like what you did is not significant enough to apply.
Yes.
I have maybe perhaps a unique situation. Our village was dissolved 4 years ago. And prior to this illusion, I was the village historian. Here that the village was dissolved. Town historian retired, I became a content. So it's just 3 years.
Let's have lunch. Oh, by the way, I'm supposed to remind you all to put in your lunch order if you want it from the restaurant here. They just want to make sure that they can serve us quickly. You will have time after you leave here. Just stop at the table. But seriously, that's an excellent question. That you were a municipal historian for a village that dissolved, and then you transitioned into being a town historian that I assume that village was a part of. I think it counts. I think that you're going to put down that your original appointment date was the one for the village, because it's been continual. And even if you had a year gap, I think that we would probably take that into consideration. So yeah, no, that's a great question. And seriously, I'm now very happy working on Zoom. I do my best to keep up with my emails, and occasionally I even pick up the phone. If you ask us, and it can seem overwhelming. I put it off for a year because I was like, oh no, what is it going to take to put this together? It's really 5 things. Fill out the application. Okay, all the boxes and stuff and the demographics. And then it's 4 sections. Just take one section at a time. And give yourself that opportunity. Just say, I'm only going to see what qualifies under section 1, and then move on to another one. And be very happy to have you all join our ranks. How are we on time? Oh, we were quick.
One more question.
Oh, we got plenty of time, please.
All right, this is a state organization. I'm just wondering with APHNYS and so forth, if there is a national level to the historic.
From what I understand, New York is the only state in the country that has a law that requires every municipality to have a historian. So we are very unique. At this point, I think we might be, as public historians, not academic historians, not, those in universities and stuff like that. As public historians, we're pretty unique. And so this is the achievement. I don't know if maybe eventually we'll come up with some other designation. But this really just goes to show what we hope everyone is able to achieve as a public historian. I know you're all doing great work because we see it in the applications.
You might want to Google online and see what kind of historical associations there are. I mean, if you are interested in becoming, a part of more than one. But as Mary said, I don't think that there is a national umbrella organization just for public historians.
Updates to this list, who do I talk to?
Updates for the list of registered historians? Me? Yes, please. I went through this list to see who was still current, and I was amazed at how many people cover multiple municipalities. There's somebody that covers 2 towns and 3 villages. I did see that there were a couple of people that transitioned from, say, being a town historian to a county historian. So I updated that. And I kind of thought it was important to show on the list, you know, that there's a lot going on. All right. We'll be in here for a few more minutes, and then anyone who cares to can follow me to the coffee. But we're going to be around. So thank you.